The North East boasts the best fans in British football, and who can argue with that today? Apparently, they've had rain here in Newcastle for the last 17 days. But those marvellous supporters are out in force for the visit of the Cannon League champions Liverpool. And despite appalling conditions, the club expects at least a crowd of 28,000. Hello, good afternoon to you all and welcome to St James's Park. I don't know about when the boot comes in, but I reckon over the last couple of days up here we've had enough rain to float the whole of Tyneside. The good news, though, the match goes ahead. Referee David Hutchinson travelled overnight from his home in Harrogate. He's had a couple of looks at the pitch. He says it is okay, but there's certainly going to be an element of what he calls flashball about it. Both teams already out on the pitch, and our team inside here, delighted to see him again. An old favourite of ITV, Mike Shannon, sitting alongside Jimmy Greaves. Mike, I think you've got a point to make about the two Newcastle strikers, first of all, Beardsley and Waddle. Yeah, well, I think they're probably the most exciting forward players playing in our football today, and I think that if they can get good service, I'm looking forward to seeing Chris Waddle and Peter Beardsley, because they're exciting, after all. Jimmy Greaves, complete with brand new programme holder, so there'll be no crumpled programmes this afternoon. No. Jimmy, you've got the old galoshes on. Have a look at the pitch. Is it as bad as we all think?
Actually, the pitch is in remarkably good nick, Jim, when you think that there has been 17 days of rain here. There is a bit of surface water about, but certainly down the sides of the pitch between the corner flags and the 6-yard box, it's going to play pretty well. It's obviously going to be very slippery and greasy on top, and I think that makes for good forward play.
Mike, who is this going to suit, if anybody, these conditions? Well, I think Liverpool are going to... Liverpool are a very professional outfit. They're going to set themselves out. And I think it'll take 10 minutes for the game to settle down. I mean, it looks as if they're kicking about out there at the moment, the ball's zipping. And early on, it's going to be a bit hectic and a bit quick. But I think that the longer the game goes, I think Liverpool are going to be pretty solid and just play the normal way. OK, thanks very much, Mike. Thank you, Jimmy. Well, a smashing atmosphere building up here, a great atmosphere out in the ground. We're going to go out there now to join your commentary team for this afternoon's live big match. That is Ian St John sitting alongside Brian Moore.
Thank you, Jim. Let's make our first job a check on the two teams. And first it's the Newcastle side with Kevin Carr in goal. In the back four, there's a return for Glenn Roeder, formerly of Orient and Queen's Park Rangers, after injury. He's missed the last 4 games, the number 6. In the midfield, it'll be interesting to see Kenny Wharton playing just behind the front two. As Mike Shannon's just said, what about those two front players, Chris Waddle and Peter Beardsley, both past fit today after injuries, to the vast relief of this crowd here at St James's Park. Liverpool, Bruce Grobbelaar in goal, of course, and a back four that's certainly familiar and formidable enough. And when we come to the midfield, well, Steve Nichols slots in there now. Ronnie Whelan is out and injured, and they've also got formidable names up front, of course, Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush. Chris Waddle, one of the great names now, making a tremendous reputation on the North East. And in fact, he's not trained at all this week because of a groin injury, and says, well, at least I'm going to give it a start and give it everything I've got. Peter Beardsley, who got an elbow in the face playing against Chelsea last week, had delayed concussion, didn't start training until Thursday, but he says he's delighted to be out there for what is really an important game for Newcastle. If they win it, they go into the top 6. David Hutchinson, the referee from Harrogate in Yorkshire. A quick word from Ian St John. Ian, your thoughts about this one?
Well, I agree with what the lads were saying up in the box, Brian. I think it will be a very good game. The pitch, I think, will suit that type of football. We'll get a lot of excitement. I should think a lot of goal-mouth scrambles with defenders falling all over the place with the ball skidding around. So I'm looking forward, really, to a good open game.
Well, as we already said, a tremendous atmosphere. It's a privilege to be up here in the North East, where the game means so much to them. A revised crowd of just over 28,000, we've been told, in the most dreadful conditions. And that is really just around the average for Newcastle for the season. Bruce Grobbelaar. Well, there wasn't much bounce there, as you saw. Johnston and Hurd challenging for this one. And a free kick for Liverpool. Phil Neal will take it towards John Work, but it's McCreary who's up first. Waddle, a roar as he gets the ball, but not much run on that ball. Anderson, the lad from Dublin, in very quickly indeed, finding Hurd. A touch from Wharton, a touch from Waddle, and a little flick forward by MacDonald, which goes out of play. He waited so long to get Liverpool back here for a competitive game. Newcastle's throw. Malcolm Brown, the tall full-back, and across from MacDonald. Hurd couldn't get to it. It'll run for Johnston, and now for Kenny Dalglish. Molby. Dalglish. And now Wharton. But running into a wall of red. But free kick given there against Phil Neal. Glenn Roeder with it. This is Wes Saunders. In for Hurd. Running on the left side of midfield. And a little nick through. Roeder again. Good pressure this from Newcastle. MacDonald on the far side. Good heading ability. Waddle's in there. And Clevelar at full stretch to get it away. And sadly for Newcastle, Waddle is down and injured. But MacDonald's header was so important that it almost opened up the way. Ian St John.
Well, there was certainly a bit of hesitancy there in the Liverpool defence when that ball was played in. Stevie Nicol at the back post was beaten in the air, and Bruce Grobler, I think, thought the defenders were coming. Brian, and then he himself had to come and get a late punch, and he clashed with Waddle there, and looks as if the Newcastle boy got a bad one. Yeah, but that's Nicol at the far post. He was beaten there by MacDonald. There's Bruce coming. Oh, and certainly Waddle got a knock there, didn't he?
And now Wesley Saunders. Waddle a dummy. Wharton onside. Beardsley waiting in the middle. Well, I think the linesman may have been a little generous there.
Well, I'm not so sure, Brian, because he was on the run when Waddle dummied the ball. It was a super dummy, and it caught Liverpool really flat-footed.
Well, Wharton making the good break. Newcastle getting the corner. Saunders crossing it in very deep. And Hanson getting it away to Rush. The lone man in red up front. Linesman flagging. Play on, said the referee. Newcastle throw. 7 minutes gone if you've just got in. Newcastle 0, Liverpool 0. Newcastle in those opening 7 minutes have had much the better of it. Kennedy. Nicol. Kennedy again, lifting it to Dalglish. Ball there that found MacDonald. Kennedy away. There was a handball there in the Newcastle defence. It's Liverpool's free kick. Neal. Dalglish. Molby. Walk. Neal supporting. Dalglish, nice little touch. Back again nicely from Molby to Kenny Dalglish. Rush trying to get him in. Nicol trying to get in. Dalglish also there, but in the end the pass back to Carr. Delightful stuff in the build-up there by Liverpool.
It was, and I'm just looking at Stevie Nicol there, and it says a lot for the lad. I mean, he was playing great full-back for Scotland on Wednesday night, and here you are, you see him playing wide on the left for Liverpool this afternoon.
Well, here's Johnston. Molby. Straight to Carr. Oh, there was never any trouble here at all, of course, for Kevin Carr. Anderson. Neil. Hurd with the throw for Newcastle. Beardsley, the little touch for Wharton. Linking up well with those front men. Bouncing off Hansen. Free kick. Beardsley over it. Just that John Anderson's gone forward into the box, the big defender. Waddle is alongside Beardsley. Indirect free kick. Played wide, a lot of space there for Saunders. And it comes off Phil Neal, and Newcastle get a corner. MacDonald's at the near post, along with Anderson. Waddle waiting at the back post. For those little flicks on. Well, that might have gone anywhere, and Liverpool were just delighted to get it away, and it needed an intervention quickly there from Johnston to clear it, helped by Nicol, and now Rush is on the charge. Versus McCreary, and McCreary has held him up well. Johnston coming up in support. Oh, against the post. Dalglish, the little chip in, and headed away by Hurd for the Liverpool corner.
Well, Kenny Dalglish tried to play the ball there to the far post, but terrific play by Liverpool on the break. Johnson with a shot there, hit the post, and out it come to Dalglish, but a smashing break by Liverpool from that bit of pressure that were under from the corner kick.
0-0 here at the moment, if you just joined us, with 13 minutes of the first half gone. There's a good break again by Liverpool. Steve Nicol leading the way. Rush trying to get in, and in the end, it was an excellent piece of defence by Glenn Roeder. At the expense of a corner, but that was a small price to pay because that really looked most ominous. Nicol in again to Kennedy. Just knocked back once more. And Walk looked as though he might almost get in there. And a slip. Again, confirming how treacherous those conditions are.
I'm very impressed with Nicol actually this season. I think he's come on a ton. You know, what doesn't matter if he's playing up full-back or if he's playing in this wide position on the left. He always does a very good job for Liverpool.
Oh, a slip there between Johnston and Neal. Let's Hurd in. And now Beardsley, but Neal is back. Good and reliable old campaigner, getting back for Liverpool after that mistake. But Beardsley then with the corner. Again, Anderson's gone forward. Waddle and MacDonald at the near post. Wharton catching it on the volley.
I must say they've looked pretty dangerous with the corner kicks they've had so far, and the free kicks for that matter as well, Newcastle. Liverpool don't appear to be handling them too well. But the one thing I would say, Brian, in midfield, Liverpool, you know, don't really have a tackler in there. You know, apart from Steve Nicol maybe on the left, and I think Newcastle, you know, if they build up through the middle, they may get a little bit of freedom.
Solis, onside, it's Waddle. Can this be the goal? No! Saved from the line by Kennedy. What a remarkable incident that was, and look at the disgust of Chris Waddle. Onside and clear, he got round Grobbelaar, and the whole of St James's Park was ready to shout goal. He looked up, he played it towards the goal, and back came the former Newcastle man, Alan Kennedy, to save it on the line. Towards Chris Waddle. Bounces very conveniently off Waddle for Kennedy. Nicol, Kennedy. Dalglish getting into a spot of trouble, and Hurd doing really well to retrieve it. Finding Beardsley. Finding Waddle. Into the side netting.
Well, Chris Waddle really does that so well, Brian. He loves to get the defender backpedaling, takes it up at him, tries to get onto the byline. If if you remember a couple of weeks ago at Luton, he did the very same thing as that and set up the second goal for Newcastle.
Lawrence in a good job. Off the referee, didn't deter Craig Johnston. Pass played with the outside of the foot, and Nicol worming his way through. Dalglish encouraging him to go on. And a goal! Steve Nicol for Liverpool. 24 minutes gone.
Bears out exactly what I was saying about Stevie Nicol. Really fought for that ball, and clear a 1-2 and gone through the little toe poke underneath the goalkeeper. Real opportunist goal. Dalglish involved in the build-up again. There's a little ball there. And he does really well, actually, to keep his feet here, hold the defender off. And there, as I said, a little toe poke. McCreary's certainly trying to look after John Watt, who today is playing in a sort of behind the front two role, Brian, which is a little bit different from his normal. And he's backing up the front line, but McCreary's doing a good job shadowing him.
Well, Nicol's doing a good job for Liverpool, finding Mulby there, finding Rush, in turn looking for Watt, in turn coming through for Mulby, but the whistle had gone.
Jan Mulby, actually, I've watched him a couple of times this season, and it looks to me as if he's lost a bit of weight. It looked rather heavy around the middle when he came first at the start of the season, but he's got a nice touch.
Yeah, just going to say the same thing. He does look as though he's lost a pound or two.
I think trimmed a little bit.
Here he is again, the Dane, Jan Mulby. Rush. Dalglish in so much space on this side, and what a good ball that picks him out. Saunders has come to try and stop him. I thought for a moment he might have got a repeat of Hampden Park on Wednesday night there.
It's a favourite move of Kenny's, isn't it? On the right-hand side of the penalty area, coming in on his left foot and bending one into the top corner, as he did, as you say, against Spain the other night. But he scored so many goals like that.
Waddle there, 23 years old. He came a bit late, actually, into professional football from Tolaw Town, the local non-league side. And certainly he's very much in Bobby Robson's mind at the moment. He was due, of course, to go into the under-21 squad for Turkey in this last midweek. Well, here is Waddle again. A little slip through. Can Beardsley get there first? Well, Waddle got there for a moment. Well, look at this. What's happening next? Well, it wasn't a very good pass, Bruce. It's gone straight to Malcolm Brown. Nicol getting clear, finding Hansen. Mulby finding Johnston. Roda nicely in command with a full right run of his, and then tries to do a little too much under pressure from Walk. So about 32 minutes gone. And Liverpool leading by Nicol's goal after 24 minutes. Orton the touch. Saunders the clearance. Hansen. Rush. Mulby. Nicol again. Across the face of the goal, it might go anywhere, and in the end it was Brown who was happy to hack it away for the corner.
Well, Stevie Nicol, definitely the danger man here for Liverpool. That low cross here, Kevin Carr couldn't quite get to it, and as we were saying before the game, the surface makes for all these, exciting goal-mouth incidents.
Roda with the free kick towards Hurd. He got up well. Roda once more, the little touch. Saunders, good play here by Newcastle. Nice combination until Beardsley's pass didn't get through, and it's with Dalglish. Johnston. Wharton stopping him. Now, Waddle's onside. Support from Hurd on this side, but Waddle going all the way! And in the end, a fine effort by Grobbelaar. And I think he's been troubled by a groin injury, Waddle, all week. He hasn't trained all week, in point of fact. And a fine piece of keeping by Grobbelaar. Rush charging out. This car. Very delightful header. And ball they claim, and it is given. And then Johnston getting tangled up with Hurd. And I think the referee, he certainly wants Johnston. I don't know whether he wants... Oh, he's booking Craig Johnston for the little flare-up after that free kick had been given. Can we see it? Hurd to Saunders. Neil. Well, that was eminently clearable there for Phil Neal, but he made life difficult for himself and his teammates, but in the end, Craig Johnston comes away. Kennedy. Hanson. Kennedy, who really got his chance here at St James's Park. He was an apprentice at Newcastle. Played all those games, 158 for them, and then left in 78 for Anfield. Rush. Good interception by Anderson. And now, Waddle onto the left foot. And Liverpool getting back, 5 of them getting back. Wharton's come up in support, and Beardsley here as well. And in the end, cool as you like, Lawrenson and Neil get it away to Craig Johnston. That is quite a moment, actually, when you see that ball come onto Chris Waddle's left foot like that.
Well, it gives the crowd a buzz because the boy can do so much. He's got lovely skill. And actually, he's been very unfortunate not to have scored today.
Half-time whistle. And Liverpool leading by a goal to nil. Steve Nicol after 24. Chris Waddle so unlucky not to get an equaliser for Newcastle United. Welcome back to St James's Park in Newcastle. As you can see, the rain is still piling down. Liverpool leading by 1 goal to nil. Steve Nicol after 24 minutes. Newcastle in the striped shirts, now attacking the goal to our right. Dalglish. Well, I've told you about the fanatical support they've got here at Newcastle. I must also tell you about a public address announcement during the half-time interval for a gentleman who's here watching, informing them that while he was watching the first half, his wife presented him with twins. You can imagine there are a few million wives up and down the country saying he didn't get his priorities right. He's offside. The whistle's gone. I'm not surprised Chris Waddle hadn't heard it.
But they do have a different set of priorities up here in Tyneside when it comes to the football. But that's a good one. I'll bet he's knocked it out of the ground. He'll still be here.
Played for Beardsley. Neil is there with him. A throw to Newcastle. Started the first half so brightly, looking to put Liverpool under pressure in the early moments of the second half. Beardsley getting it back to Saunders. Peter Beardsley again. Will he go all the way? No, Waddle is there. And Beardsley again. Well, it looked like a handball there. Maybe it was accidental, but it certainly appeared to strike, I think it was Steve Nicol's hand. Brown. And a goal kick. What do you think about that, Ian?
Well, if we can have a look at it again, Brian, I'm not quite sure. I think it may have been actually Alan Hansen. It hit Alan Hansen certainly in the chest and then broke clear, and Stevie Nicol tidied up after that.
Hansen. Kenny Wharton. Kept his head beautifully. What a fine piece of play by Lawrenson, but sadly the ball, for him at any rate, must have gone out of play on the far side there, Ian, was it?
No, actually, I think when he played the ball, he was fouled by Watson, then the referee stopped the game. But, I mean, Lawrenson is so cool and classy when he comes out of defence. He must be the best defender, certainly in Europe.
Neil with the kick. Saunders. Dalglish. Johnston with the cross. Kennedy. Oh, the Newcastle back four come flying out to try and catch an offside. It didn't have to come to that in the end, and Beardsley in turn finding Neil MacDonald. In towards little Kenny Wharton again, but once again Lawrenson showing class and coolness, finding Rush. Except that Anderson was there, picked up now by Nicol. Here's Rush again. Mulvey. Neil. Dalglish leaving it again for the Dane and Mulvey. Coolness again, and a lovely ball through for Steve Nicol. Rush and Walker waiting in the middle if Nicol needs them, but the shot is his, and in the end, when Carr was getting down, now in came the defender John Anderson and conceded the corner. It looked to be Carr's ball, and the number 5 got in and allowed Liverpool to keep up the pressure. Nicol. Dalglish. Kennedy. In again, offside.
Well, Newcastle are living a little bit dangerously with the offside trap here, Brian. You know, they're coming out and trying to play Liverpool off. Now, it's always a dangerous game, especially when you're playing against class players. Because before, when Alan Kennedy had a chance to break through, he almost went through on his own. And I'm sure that will happen if they come rushing out like that again.
Lawrenson. This time. Dalglish. Mulvey away on the left for him, but Dalglish gets it through to Walk, through to Nicol once more. This time picks up Craig Johnston, insisting that Hansen goes wide, so he does. And what can the big Scot do? Well, nothing much with a challenge like that from Saunders, except get up and wait for the free kick to be taken. Craig Johnston who'll take it. 2, 4, 5 Liverpool players in and around that Newcastle penalty area now, seeking a second goal. And headed down, well, almost a free header there by Mulvey. And there really wasn't much of a challenge on him, Ian.
There was no challenge at all, actually. It was MacDonald who was at the far post there, and the Dane got a free header.
Awkwardly losing the ball there to Walk, and now Rush to Mulvey. Johnston. Mulvey gathering a little bit of pace. Well, it looked as though he was fouled, but I think his fall was a little too theatrical for the liking of the referee. And Saunders just faulting Craig Johnston. Johnston with the throw. Dalglish collecting. A little chip in. Wanting to get through the Walk. And a deflection that goes just wide of the goal. And a goal kick.
Liverpool are now beginning to really take over in this match, Brian. I think, you know, since half-time, they weathered a little 2 or 3 minutes, but now they're beginning to, you know, knock the ball around and threaten every time they get into the Newcastle half.
Away goes Wharton. And he's got one in the middle. And Nicol gets it away. But suddenly Waddle, who appears to have taken a crack on the rib cage there, was almost on the end of that delightful little cross from Kenny Wharton. And Grobbelaar a little fortunate, if anything. And Neil in trouble. And Grobbelaar, no good fortune there for him. That was pure skill. As he gets that one away, and Grobbelaar is hurt.
No, he's not.
But in point of fact, after Phil Neal had put him in a bit of trouble, that was a good piece of keeping.
It certainly was. Actually, he was a bit fortunate with the Waddle's header, because Waddle headed it straight at him the first time, and then, of course, Neil put him in trouble with that deflected header. He made a very good recovery save. I think he took a little bit of a knock, but he was keeping the crowd on a bit there. I'm sure he needs some cold water on his head today, yeah?
He hasn't had much already, has he? Well, he conceded 6 in the last 11 games. And there he is. At 27 years old, Zimbabwe international. Played the last one for Zimbabwe 2 or 3 months ago in Egypt. He's telling me it's a remarkable life these footballers lead. His pre-match meal was on a jumbo jet as he was flying into play. So a quarter of an hour, the second half gone, and the grip we were saying that Liverpool appeared to have on this game has been loosened just a little bit. As Newcastle come forward again and now need to retreat, and Anderson will get it back to Kevin Carr. Oh, what a poor ball by Saunders, straight to Craig Johnston. Now with Dalglish. And a bad one by Kenny Dalglish. This time it's Neil MacDonald. The little chip forward, offside. Offside. It won't count, whatever happens. Kenny Wharton thinks he has scored a goal and still doesn't know. And they both think they've scored a goal. I've got bad news for them. They haven't. Oh no, ref. Look at the look on Kenny Wharton's face. But the flag was up way back.
But you can see the referee standing with his hand up there indicating the offside. Mind you, he certainly took it well, didn't he?
Took it beautifully. Saunders. Beasley. Full ball. They're not done yet. Waddle. And Grobbelaar, nicely down.
On his right foot, Brian, not too happy on that right foot. He was got himself into the position all right, Chris Waddle, but rather weak shot.
Straight to goal. Mulvey. 5 Liverpool players forward now. The 4 you saw there, plus Ian Rush, Dalglish, trying to get that famous turn of his, but the turf wouldn't allow it. But what a good ball for Nicol. And a goal. Now with the goal kick. Referee right to say goal kick. Neil doing a bit of hurdling, keeping possession, finding Rush, and now Craig Johnston. Long-range shots. It's not easy for keepers, you know, is it, Ian?
No, certainly not. A very difficult day to play for goalkeepers, but both keepers today have done very well, haven't they? And they've read the situation earlier when they've had to come out of the box.
Dalglish with a header for Rush. Walks going through. Oh, good piece of keeping. That's so nearly was number 2 for Liverpool. Lovely break out of nothing as well. And here come Liverpool again. Rush. Time that's an offside flag up against John Work as Phil Neal's shot goes well wide.
Well, that was typical John Watt, wasn't it? You know, he's not really been in the game too much, and there he was racing through, and actually it was a very good save of the goalkeeper.
Subs coming on. Paul Ferris, the young lad from Northern Ireland. And Neil McDonald coming on.
Number 7, Neil McDonald, is Paul Ferris. Paul Ferris, the substitute from this.
It looks as though he's going into a midfield position, leaving McCreary to come out on the right side of things, seemed to be the indication. Brown. Waddle. Oh, thank you, says Nicol. Here's Rush. Walk again has made the break. Rush has picked him up. Here's John Walk again. Good work again by Kevin Carr. There's a couple of good saves we've seen by Carr from Walk.
Well, my prediction that John Watt would score in the second half almost came true twice there, Brian.
Kevin Carr, the Newcastle goalkeeper, was publicly criticised, in fact, by Jack Charlton a couple of weeks ago for some pretty indifferent performances against Luton and against Watford. But Jack said he took it like a true pro. He certainly had no chance with Steve Nichol's goal. And he's performed well. It's quite a whimsical character, actually, Kevin Carr, as well. I noticed he was saying that Ian Rush has never beaten me yet. Mind you, I've never played against him, he said. Well, here's Waddle very deep. Newcastle fans would love to see him much, much further forward, but he's played a beautiful ball through to Beardsley. Can Beardsley go all the way? Can he still go all the way? Saved by Grummelar in the line.
The referee has actually given a free kick just on the edge of the box.
So 7 minutes to go. And Beardsley wriggling his way through. And Liverpool look to be in a bit of trouble here. Equal to the challenge, though the whistle by then had gone. Now, who's going to get behind this one? Beardsley. Waddle is standing over the ball. Hurd is in there too. Everybody in the striped shirts, except Saunders and the goalkeeper, have gone forward. Some argument about how far the wall should go back. Beardsley with a little chip. Grummelar with the save.
Well, he didn't quite get enough pace on it, I don't think, Brian. You know, it was a neat enough little chip, but give the goalkeeper time to see it and get across. I think you've got to play them if you're going to try and dip the goalkeeper with a bit of pace.
Just 5 minutes remaining now as Rush takes up the challenge. And is brought down by Roeder. And Roeder will be booked. So a free kick to Liverpool. Albee getting behind this. Kennedy has gone into the wall, or just alongside the wall. Albee through the wall and straight at the keeper, zipping off that turf. It's not yet scored for Liverpool. Flicked in for Wharton. Here's Waddle. Can he find a finishing touch for Newcastle? No, he's forced away, but the cross comes in. And in the end, it was Johnston who had to go diving in to head the ball behind for the corner. Exactly 2 minutes left. And Newcastle get their first corner of the second half. They pushed everybody forward, including Roda for this one. And Grobbelaar, whoa, no word. And it was Roda who went in there. And Grobbelaar just for a moment was uncertain. Ian?
Well, as I said, Brian, in the first half, Liverpool haven't been too clever defending on corner kicks, and again, allowed a free header in.
Official gates on the scoreboard, 28,003. And when you consider the conditions, what a tribute that is to football fanaticism here in the northeast. Beardsley. Brown. Wharton. And can Newcastle yet save it? A goal down in the last minute now. Chris Waddle. Malcolm Brown, crossed again, Grobbelaar's there, a very important catch, and then the throw out for Phil Neal. And now the pass inside for John Walk. Rush just staying on side. With Dalglish in the middle, Walk in there too, and Nicol. Across the goal, and into the back of the net from Walk. And 2-0.
Again, tremendous work by Stevie Nicol, going past two defenders, getting it past the goalkeeper's car came out to him, and there was John Ward, as I said at the start of the second half, in there to get his goal.
Again, as you say, Nicol, who probably has been the man of the match, who's had a marvellous game for Liverpool. What a lovely little cross in there as Carr came out. And the man from midfield who's always likely to pop up in those 6-yard areas, John Ward, making it 2. Saw Liverpool win 2-0 at Nottingham Forest in a live game, and they look very much as though they're going to do the same here today. The recovery truly is on its way.
Newcastle certainly put up a good fight, Brian. They've made a game of it. It's been very entertaining football, and really only they maybe deserved the goal because they've created some chances and really played well.
Well, let's see if they can get this goal here. Waddle with the shot. Might go anywhere, and in the end Grobbelaar out so quickly as Anderson came in. The final whistle, 2-0 to Liverpool, with the goals by Nicol and right at the end by Ward. I'm looking forward to hearing the views of Mike Shannon and Jimmy Greaves. I hope you are too. We hope to get a word with Jack Charlton. That's all after the break.